at the TED, tonight the Braves crank up their season series with the Nationals. Anointed division winners before the season even began, Washington arrives in town in search of its offense, while the Braves hope to rebound from a tough road trip. An always entertaining and unpredictable matchup. It's the Nationals and the Braves. Game one of this great Eastern rivalry continues next. It is great to be back in Atlanta and at beautiful Turner Field, where after a 3-6 road trip, the Braves hope for a return to form with some home cooking. And it's always fun when their arch rivals from the East come to town. Tonight we get our first look at the Washington Nationals. And hi again, friends, along with Tom Glavine and Joe Simpson. Chip Carey, welcome back to the ballpark. The Braves could sure use a return to form, Joe. The first 8 games were terrific, but a rough road trip for the Braves has them at 500 entering play tonight.
Well, they had that great record, Chip, because everything was working, and they were playing such great baseball, offensively, pitching, and especially defense. They'd only made 1 error in their first 10 ball games, and they were averaging almost 4.5 runs a game. Well, since that time, you can see how the errors have piled up, and a lot of them over the last 8 games for Atlanta that have really contributed to some problems for Atlanta, especially at the end of that road trip. They went 3-6, as you said, on the trip overall, but they won 2 of the first 3.
But it could be worse. You could be the Washington Nationals. They are injury-riddled. They have not had their lineup together. And the man they call the Marine, the drill instructor, Matt Williams, well, Tommy, they might need a little more basic training. It hasn't gone well in the first 3 weeks.
No, not been the start that they were looking for to get off to either. And you see there they've lost 5 straight games. 12th in the National League in runs per game, 14th in average, so they're having trouble hitting and scoring. Their defense is as bad as the Braves has been. Washington's been worse. You see there most errors in the National League with 18. And then, oh, by the way, when they do find themselves in a game where they're leading, they're having trouble on the back end with 5 blown saves, most in Major League Baseball. So it's been a tale of a lot of things going wrong for the Nationals. So hopefully for the Braves, they can take advantage of that.
Let's keep it that way. We always like to see the Nationals struggle. Hopefully that'll be the case. They face Trevor Cahill. Doug Fister, a tough customer, goes to the mound for the Nats in Game 1. The rivalry gets underway again. We're off and running. Braves and Nationals baseball from the TED right after this.
the Washington Nationals in town to face the Atlanta Braves in Game 1. And when you watch the highlights between these two teams over the past few years, you see the sparks and the tempers flaring that have created this NL East rivalry. Take a look at the numbers. Head-to-head last 42 meetings, 14 wins for Washington versus Atlanta's 28. The Braves have won 15 of the last 22 meetings at Turner Field. But despite the numbers, there's no doubt that these are two teams that, no matter what the records say, they rise to the occasion and they create some fun competition out here on the field. The Braves know what they need to do to compete when it comes to the Washington Nationals, who were the team to beat coming in to the head of the season, as I talked to AJ Przinsky about.
Well, obviously the Nationals are a good team. Everyone picked them to win everything. I mean, they were giving them the trophy before the season started. So it's a tough team and it's a tough matchup, but we have to play, and we can play. We can play with anybody. We've proven that earlier in the year. The biggest key for us is not to beat ourselves. When we beat ourselves, we're in trouble. Limit the walks, limit the defensive mistakes, limit the base running mistakes, and if we do that, we'll be fine.
Nationals not exactly playing their best baseball right now either. They're coming off a 5-game losing streak. Przinsky says obviously they'd like to take advantage of that early in the season, and he quoted Hawk Harrelson, legendary broadcaster for the White Sox, saying, "Doesn't matter who you're playing, it matters when you play them." You'll see if the timing is right for the Braves tonight. Line up the first pitch ahead after the break.
Our first look at the Washington Nationals. Eric Stults takes the hill for Atlanta, and here's how Matt Williams lines up his 7-12 defending National League Eastern Division champions. Denard Span is back. He missed a lot of time with a sore oblique problem. Ryan Zimmerman's battling plantar fasciitis. He's their first baseman. Jason Worth just back from shoulder surgery. Bryce Harper's having a terrific start. He's already got 5 homers. Former Brave Yunel Escobar is their third baseman. Ian Desmond, the shortstop. Wilson Ramos, Danny Espinosa, and Doug Fister round out the batting order for Washington.
Facing left-hander Eric Stults, making his third start of the year, 0-1 on the year with a 4.5 ERA. And you see kind of there what's been the tale of his career. His first 21 starts, obviously not a good record and a high ERA, but over his last 14 starts, he's really started to put together some better efforts. 5-5 over that span with a 3.09 ERA, and that probably could be a whole lot better has he not been one of the worst pitchers in baseball in terms of run support.
His 4 keys to pitching success: certainly he could use some runs to work with, preferably early tonight, but more of the same. He retired 14 of the last 15 he faced against the Mets. He had a good sinker working, and with no outs, a batting average of 417 with nobody out. Needs to improve on that too tonight.
64 degrees at first pitch as Denard Span took a strike. And Stults back to work quickly and just missed. It's an even count. Span 240 average, no homers, 2 RBIs, a hitting machine last year for the Nationals. He had 184 base hits. But he was sidelined with a core oblique issue and is only now getting back in the lineup for Washington. That in part explains some of their offensive struggles. Span, Worth, is that pitch out of play, and Anthony Rendon, 3 key contributors offensively for Washington. None of those 3 were ready to go from the opening bell for Matt Williams.
And the most important, I think, was Rendon. Terrific player, maybe the best player on their ball club.
Yeah, you take 3 guys like that out of anybody's lineup, and they're going to have a tough time putting things together consistently offensively.
Bouncing ball up the middle. Jace Peterson behind the bag. Long throw. Freeman with a scoop. And there's a good defensive start for the Braves. And Joe, that's been sorely missing over the last week and a half.
Well, it certainly has, Chip, but good range there by Jace. Tough throw from right around the second base bag and a good scoop by Freddie. Good to see.
And there you see the rest of the Braves defensive lineup presented by CPI Security. Cayaspo back in at third base. Kelly Johnson's in left. AJ Przinsky for the start pitch. Atlanta with 10 errors, but 9 of those 10 have come in the last 6 games. And Zimmerman cranks the first pitch he sees to deep right center field, and that ball is going to be caught on the warning track. Young ranged to his left and hauled it in as Zimmerman, the Nationals' first baseman, batting second for the first time this year.
And the wind is blowing right in that direction, so that fly ball was wind aided. A lot of right-handers in this lineup. Only Bryce Harper is a left-handed hitter. Beg your pardon, Span's in there now too.
Jason Worth, his first game was April 13th for Washington. The right shoulder AC joint required surgery for Worth. He's having spring training during regular season play, it would seem.
That's really a sensitive area too, especially in his throwing shoulder.
In at the knees. Another fine year for Worth last year. He hit .292. He scored 85 runs. He hit 16 homers and drove in 82. And that one down the right field line, slicing away from Nick Markakis, and out of play, 2-2.
Good off-speed pitch there already from Eric. The only run he gave up was in an inning where there was an error committed in New York. After that, he went on a real roll.
And a real encouraging sign too, Joe, because first couple of times through the rotation, the 4 or 5 spots for Atlanta's pitching staff were hit very hard. And Worth flips the bat away and earns a 2-out walk.
Well, he was flipping the bat away, and Stults was skipping his way off the mound because he thought he struck him out. PNC Bank pitch tracks. I mean, good grief.
Yeah, not sure how you don't call that one. That's almost middle.
Milwaukee has the plate, missed one. And here's Bryce Harper. 5 homers, 11 RBIs for Harper. But he's been drawing a ton of walks for Washington. He's walked 17 times this year already. And he grounds the first pitch to second. Jace has it, and Stults has no trouble with Washington in the top of the first inning. Here come the Braves and Nick Markakis against Doug Fister. Pfister here in the bottom of the first inning. Here's Freddie Gonzalez's lineup presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. He shuffled the order in Philadelphia to pay dividends the first game with Markakis, Simmons, Freeman, and Przinsky, the first 4 hitters. Then Alberto Callaspo had a pinch hit homer yesterday. He gets the start at third. Kelly's in left, Jason second, Young and Stults 8th and 9th against a real tough hombre.
Yeah, Doug Pfister, we told you his numbers in the open against the Braves. Here's some more good ones. His last 7 starts overall, 5-0 with a 1.7 ERA. So tough customer, a lot of ground balls, but should be fun to watch the Braves battle him tonight.
Everybody in the lineup needed to polish up their pitching wedge tonight because they're going to need it with all the sinkers.
They better polish it fast because Pfister works extremely quickly. We're told his average time between pitches is 16.3 seconds. That's faster than any other starting pitcher in the game. So he's the poster child for the new pace of play initiatives for Major League Baseball. And 1 ball, 1 strike to Nick Markakis.
Get it and go.
Saw him a lot. And that missed. Nick 8 for 22 with a homer against Doug Pfister. The Orioles and Nationals are geographic rivals, quite obviously, so they saw each other quite a bit during interleague play. So plenty of history between these two. And Markakis draws a leadoff walk. Boy, he's been getting on base like crazy. Love it. So Pfister goes to the stretch to start the ball game.
Tom, you mentioned the last 7 games and a 1.70 ERA. It would be even better were it not for the 4 earned runs he gave up in 6 innings in his last start. So he was working at an even better pace before that loss Sunday against the Cardinals. He got a no decision.
Andrelton's on a nice offensive roll, and he takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. He's hitting the ball hard from line to line. Joe, we were really excited when he was hitting the ball to right consistently against the Phillies.
Paid off for him because they were pitching him in yesterday, and he pulled the ball hard yesterday.
That's popped up behind the second base bag, and Desmond gets there. And the Nationals shortstop records the first out of the ball game. Here's the rest of the Washington defense. CPI Security presents that. And you have to keep an eye on Desmond. Washington's had all kinds of defensive issues this year. Desmond already with 8 errors somehow at shortstop. The new first baseman is Ryan Zimmerman. We're told he's been playing an excellent first base. Former third baseman for the Nationals. And a strike to Freddie Freeman.
With all that good work Pfister made against the Braves last year, only 2 guys in the lineup tonight batted against him in a Braves uniform. Simmons and Freeman. Everybody else is new.
Does that change your game plan, Tom? You've had success against a club historically, and there are only a couple of old faces.
Well, I mean, I think all it does is makes you not take for granted that the success you had is going to continue necessarily.
There's a line drive by Freeman into the right field corner. Markakis around second, on his way to third. Ball dropped out there. And Freeman on his way to second. Ball dropped at shortstop. Second and third with 1 out.
Freddie had a couple of good at bats yesterday with some doubles to the left field corner. This time he goes out around a pitch, looked like a sinker that didn't sink, and top hand hooks it. Looked like he was trying to go to second from the get-go, and they do rule it a double.
So a great chance for the Braves to jump on Pfister early. Second and third for red-hot A.J. Przinsky. Braves catchers knocked in 6 runs. And he serves one toward left. Worth is there. Not very deep. Markakis tags. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's up the line. Freeman slides in safely at third. It's a sac fly on RBI, and the Braves have a 1-0 lead.
As soon as Markakis went back to tag, I thought, okay, well, we're going to find out right away if that repaired AC joint from Jason Worth has allowed him to return to a good throwing outfielder, which he's always had a good arm. Not so on this throw. It just faded into foul territory with nothing on it.
So a walk, a double, a couple of drops, and a sacrifice fly gives the Braves a first inning lead for Alberto Callaspo. And he's quickly behind, 0-2. That buzzed the tower inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. First inning run snaps the 18 consecutive scoreless innings pitched by Pfister against the Braves. So that's out of the way. Let's see if Atlanta can add another one here in the opening frame.
I like what Tom said. He's going to lose sometime. Might as well be tonight.
Full count. Walks have been a problem for Doug Pfister. He's got 8 of them now in 19 2/3 innings. He has 8 strikeouts in that same amount of time. And he's just walked his second man, this one with 2 outs.
He had walked 7 in his first 19 innings on the season. Walked 2 in 6 innings in that last start against the Cardinals.
Johnson will try to add to the lead. He's at 206. Strike 1. Kelly's approaching his 1,000th hit. He's 10 away. And he's able to check his swing. High pitch. Now 1-2.
Sits between 86 and 88, occasional 89 with his 4-seamer, which he doesn't throw very often. Change up and a slider.
This ball's popped up. And it's near the stands and just out of reach of Wilson Ramos. Pfister came over from the Tigers for Steve Lombardozzi, Ian Kroll, and Robbie Ray in December of 2013. 16-game winner with Washington last year. And Kelly couldn't stop himself, and that will retire the side. Braves cash in a leadoff walk to Nick Markakis. He comes home on an A.J. Pierzynski sac fly. 1-0.
AT UVerse, Delta Airlines, and your local Ford dealer.
Braves are 6-3 this year when they score the first run of the ball game. They played a first inning tally against Doug Fister. Now Eric Stults will face former Brave Yunel Escobar leading off the Washington second. It's strike. Escobar is playing third base for the Nationals and will until Rendon comes back. And Williams said earlier today that when Rendon does return, he'll play some second base as well as third base for the Washington Ball Club. Wants to move him around the infield a bit.
Really?
That's what he said.
That surprises me, unless for some reason they think that knee injury better serves him with a shorter throw. But to me, that kind of puts him in harm's way trying to turn double plays.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And a high hopper out towards second. Peterson's got a charge. He does. And he got Escobar. The return of Rendon, little hiccup today. He was supposed to play in another minor league rehab game, but was fatigued, so he will not play tonight.
Yeah, what I remember about the injury and what I read about it was that it was like a partial tear or strain. So whatever's in there, the knee is so tricky that you wonder if the rest was just enough to cure whatever was strained or stretched. Normally that doesn't always just replenish itself. It stays stretched and strained.
Desmond cranks one to center. Young on the run. Excellent jump, and he'll reach up and haul it in. There's out number 2.
2 good running catches by EY already tonight.
But I'm with you, Joe, with regards to Rendon. Love watching the guy hit. Love watching the guy play. And the game needs exciting, talented young players like him healthy and performing well. And I hope he does come back all the way for the Nationals.
Yeah, you want to see those guys out there. I mean, that's, you know, they're fun to watch, and it's those are the matchups and the players and kinds of things you look forward to from series to series.
This is Wilson Ramos. He's hoping for a healthy year this year. That has not been the case for the big Nationals catcher. DL'd 2 times last year with the left hamate bone and a right hamstring problem. And he's quickly behind. No balls, 2 strikes.
Sounds like anything ham related gives him a problem.
Ball, 2 strikes. And now 2-2. Ramos, you'll recall, was originally a Minnesota Twin. He's going to ground to second. Jace Peterson might need a new glove. That one's getting well worn tonight. 4 ground ball outs to the Braves second baseman and a perfect second for Eric Stults. Take part in some great family activities. Friday nights are Georgia Lottery fireworks nights, and every Sunday is Alumni Sunday with autograph sessions. Kids run the bases and more. Go to Braves.com/tickets today. Joe Tom and Chip with you from Turner Field. Christina Fitzpatrick with us, reporting from the sideline. Atlanta's jumped in front of Doug Fister 1-0 as we head to the second inning, and Jace Peterson will lead things off. Fly ball foul, strike one. Two.
We talked about Jace hitting too many lazy fly ball outs. This guy might help him get on top of the ball and hit ground balls. Four line drive
on an 0-2 pitch.
Yeah, thing of beauty there. That's what he needs to do more of. Good swing. Sinker ballers that throw them waist high are in trouble.
Not good. Not where you want to be. You might get away up there if you're 95, 96, but yeah, like you say, if your sinker's finishing there, that's not good.
Mentioned Fister 1-0 this year. If you take away his one victory, the National starting staff, this vaunted fivesome that Washington has, the embarrassment of riches that they have in the pitching department. The other four guys are 4-8 to start the season.
Things have a way of self-correcting. They're better than this. Ian Desmond's better than the way he's playing right now. They're still going to be contended with by everybody else in the division. They've just got too much starting pitching on a nightly basis for this to continue.
You might recall last year the Nationals at one point were 25-27. 2 games under 500, about a third of the way through the year. And things turned out just fine for them. They won 96 games. They finished 17 games ahead of the Mets and the Braves and won the East in a cakewalk. In fact, they clinched the East here at Turner Field last September 16th.
You know, the Mets obviously have been hot and sit atop of the division right now, but luckily for the Mets, everybody else is pretty bunched up.
Young serves one the other way. That'll chase Worth back a step or two, and he'll make the grab. 1 out.
We talked earlier in the open about Fister's career numbers against the Braves. You see there 3 starts, 3-0 with a 1.23 ERA and extremely low opponent's batting average against. So he's been a tough customer, but so far the Braves had a pretty good approach against him here the first couple innings.
Last year in 2 starts against the Braves, he gave up 7 hits to Atlanta. All 7 were singles.
Freddie took care of that in the first inning.
Yep.
2-base hit. Let's see if Stults can advance Jace Peterson. Post play at first. There's the bunt. Back to the mound, and it will work. Only one play. It's to first. Second sacrifice for Eric Stults. And Peterson in scoring position for Nick Markakis.
Good bunt.
You know, when guys execute it, it looks really easy. But unfortunately, there's been too many occasions where that simple little play hasn't been so easy.
No.
Nick Markakis had 13 hits on the road trip. The one here would be a thing of beauty because Jace Peterson can really run. Make it 2-0.
his knuckles and back to the screen. It's 0-2.
All strikes this inning from Pfister. Not one out of the zone.
Oh, Ramos almost swiped that out of midair. Did you see that? Popped out of his glove. Very nearly snatched it to steal a strike. Look out.
Man, oh man.
That get Josh down there?
I don't know how it missed Andrelton. That's one of the reasons they moved the ball boy behind the wall and behind the screen. For that very reason.
Lieutenant Dan's all right too. And did Markakis break his bat? Yep, must have. Sad story in baseball today. There's rioting, as many of you know, in Baltimore today and yesterday. The Orioles White Sox game was postponed as a result of that civil disobedience. And there's some talk that baseball might cancel that entire series until more order is restored, or perhaps even move the games to Nationals Park. I'm sure the Nationals have friends, family in the Washington-Baltimore area. They're praying for safety and calm, as we all are. The 0-2 pitch bounces up there. Snap throw back to second, and Peterson dived under the throw. Another pickoff play, and this time they got it. Jace Peterson picked off second. Pfister and Desmond worked that to perfection. And the Braves are out of luck in inning number 2. And Espinosa leads off the third for Washington. The Braves maintain a 1-0 lead. Simmons, and as we've seen so many times this season and in others, he's our Toyota key play of the game.
This is the Gibby Award, Defensive Player of the Year award that he received before the ball game. So congratulations to him on yet another recognition, another award recognizing his great defense.
If they create more defensive awards, he's just going to keep winning them.
Gibby Award, Greatness in Baseball Yearly, is what that acronym stands for. It's voted on by broadcasters, reporters, front office people, alumni, and fans online at MLB.com. So here's Danny Espinosa, switch hitting second baseman, batting 167 for the year. He didn't get it. 1 ball, 1 strike. There was talk last year that he might give up switch hitting. That has not happened, obviously. Much more power as a left-hand batter against right-handed pitching. This one shot toward the gap again. Young on his horse, still going. Look at the closing speed. Try, can't get there, and that'll bounce into the seats for a ground rule double. Wind pushed it away from him.
Yeah, he ran a long way, but couldn't catch up to it because the wind was taking it as fast away from him as he was running. When he did go for it, though, lays out on the track. That's never comfortable. Almost.
And that's the first Washington hit. So Doug Fister will be the batter. He's 1 for 6 at the plate. The bunt. It's a good one. And Callasbo with the throw to first. Sacrifice is successful. And Washington has the tying run 90 feet away in the top of their order coming up. Wonder if Fister liked taking care of business himself, Tom, or if he wanted the DH like one of his teammates.
Well, it looked like he was pretty comfortable taking care of business right there, so I don't think he's looking for a DH.
And of course, was Max Scherzer, who jammed his thumb swinging the bat against the Mets and said, "We've got to get the DH in the National League."
Really? 2 weeks in the National League and he's already calling for a DH. Come on.
Could have stayed in the American League if he's worried about hitting. Scared to hit.
Infield in for Denard Span. And he shoots one to third, right at Callasbo, and that's the way things have gone for Washington. Right at the Braves' third baseman. Now they can back up with 2 outs.
That's one of their biggest issues so far this season in their first 19 games is hitting with men in scoring position, and trouble there, hitting it right at them.
228 as a team. Zimmerman hit it hard his first time up. And he's straightened up with a fastball. It's 1-0. A .203 batting average doesn't sound like much with a hitter as talented as Ryan Zimmerman, but he's trending in the right direction for Washington. 9 RBIs in the last 11 games. Drilled toward left. And that one's going to bounce off the fence, and that's going to tie the game as Espinosa comes home to score. And Zimmerman with a ringing double makes it a 1-1 game.
Well, Matt Williams must have been thinking that this guy moving up to the top of the order in the number 2 spot will help us maybe score some more runs, especially early in the ball game.
Well, that's got to be a big lift for Washington after Span couldn't bring home Espinosa. Zimmerman does with 2 outs.
Well, those two out base hits are certainly big momentum changers and confidence boosters. Got a changeup that didn't quite finish down where Stults wanted it.
Ooh, that looked like it hurt. We've tried to check a swing and couldn't. Strike one.
Scouting report we got on the Nationals is that they were a team that with 2 outs they'd get a couple of hits, but then they couldn't get another hit to get a guy in. But they were masters at 2-out hitting with nobody on. And in fact, their batting average with 2 outs, third best in Major League Baseball, behind the Royals and Padres at 278.
Way high. 2 balls and a strike. Jason needs a shovel. Nice. Got the foot where he needs it. 2 balls and a strike. Pulled into the seats, foul. Still 2-2.
Good slow curve there.
Also foul to the left side. Now Jay Brzezinski rushes a baseball out to Eric on the mound.
They're doing a real good job of fouling off some off-speed pitches. They're out in front, but they're rolling over the top of Worth's anyway. Maybe AJ said let's bounce one and see if he swings.
Yeah, that, or maybe take a shot on a fastball in, try and get him off that. Fastball away.
Perfect.
And Worth took it, and that puts out a 3rd inning fire. A couple of doubles for Washington ties our game 1 apiece. The top of the order is coming up to the bridge. Keke, Simmons, Freddie Freeman. 1-1 home half of the third inning. You might recall Nick Markakis was in the batter's box when Jace Peterson was picked off to end the second, so he gets a new set of strikes.
Yeah, that was what was disappointing about the pickoff, is that Nick it seems like is almost at his best when he's behind in the count, because he puts up such a good fight, and especially with a runner in scoring position.
Little tapper toward third, and Escobar always with a strong arm threw wide at first, and somehow Zimmerman held the bag. James Hoy is the first base umpire, and Freddie Gonzalez is going to argue, and one would think challenge the out call at first.
Yeah, I don't think James was in a spot where he could see his foot come off the bag. He was too far in fair territory, and it could have been that the home plate umpire Bill Welke came down the line maybe to help him.
Oh, I don't know. Might have rubbed it with his toe.
But he reached back to try to get it again, and maybe that's what made Terry and Freddie think otherwise.
Yeah, rule number 1, never go back.
No.
Just act like you got it. Of course, in today's game with replay, I guess if you didn't, you better go back and get it. In the old days, that was a telltale sign that you didn't think you got it, and the umpire probably would call him safe because of it.
So the scattershot arms of the Nationals' left side of the infield almost cost him an error again. But Zimmerman held the bag at first. I talked with him before the game. He said he loves playing first base. He's really enjoying the challenge of it. And most importantly, the throwing issues, which were so evident at third base, are almost non-existent for Ryan Zimmerman at first.
Defensively, it's a fun position to play. I mean, catcher, pitcher, first base, you're pretty much in on every play.
You're busy.
No balls, 2 strikes for Andrelton. And Zimmerman in the middle of a big contract. They had to play him somewhere. He wasn't going to play third with Rendon. They allowed Adam LaRoche to depart after several terrific seasons at first base in Washington. And so that leads to the question, what drop-off defensively will Washington have without Adam LaRoche and Ryan Zimmerman now at first base? Back to the mound, and Fister's got that, and his flip to first is plenty of time, 2 out.
Not that the Braves wore Fister out in the first inning, but getting that run right there from his offense to get him back even will stir him up. And he looks good here in the third.
Yeah, to me, first couple innings kind of seemed like he was kind of feel his way around and figure some things out. Seems to be a little bit more aggressive and kind of pounding the strike zone a little bit more this inning.
Scoring change on Freeman's at bat in the opening inning. It's been changed to a single and an error on Bryce Harper.
That's the way I scored it initially. I didn't think he was going.
Did he hesitate?
He did.
I was watching Harper.
I thought he hesitated, and then when he saw the bobble, he took off. Markakis never hesitated. He went first, third right away.
That's looped over second, and Freddie Freeman's 2 for 2.
Sounded like he hit that with a piece of PVC pipe. And another thing of beauty for Freddie.
Clink. Yeah.
Back-to-back 2-hit games for Freddie Freeman. A.J. Przinsky's the batter. A sac fly. Put the Braves in front. As long as A.J. Przinsky has been in the big leagues, he's never started the season with a hitting streak as long as the one he currently enjoys. He's at 9 games and counting. And nice play at first. Zimmerman plays first like he did at third base. Tough hop, and he handled it. We go to the 4th. Still tied at 1.
the top of the 4th as the Nationals and the Braves go head-to-head in this NL East rivalry. After a little bit of a skid on the road for Freddie Freeman, he was able to get his bat going in that last game in Philly with a couple extra base hits, something that he was hoping he'd be able to carry over here at home. He was ready to get home, he said, get back to basics and just working on playing better baseball overall. He said it's a clean slate. As for the Nationals, didn't use the word rival, guys. He says there's a great back and forth over the past few years, but it's just a great matchup overall in this division.
Thank you, Christina. Bryce Harper bounces one off his body foul, and he's down a strike.
Well, everybody gets a little worn down at the end of an 11-day, 10-game road trip. But Freddie bounced back yesterday and looks good tonight, so hopefully those are signs of things to turn around for him. And good to see that smile on his face again, too.
That was missing for a couple of days on the 3-city stop. Bryce Harper, a 1-1 pitch, and that's out of play again.
.25 strikeouts in 63 at-bats for Harper.
Bryce Harper, 22 years old. And now a full count to him.
And a really good player.
He is. Easy not to like, but got to give him his credit. He's a good player.
And Washington's hoping he can stay healthy. Played just 100 games last year. Tore the ulnar collateral ligament in his left thumb, sliding into third base in a game against San Diego in late April. And with all the hullabaloo about Chris Bryant of the Cubs, remember all that this spring, whether he should join the big league club out of spring training or not? Bryce Harper's 10 months younger than Chris Bryant. He's already played 360 some odd big league games. So he's aboard and a threat to run. And Stults has walked his second man tonight. Here's Yunel Escobar.
They have not been a good running team. They have 3 stolen bases. Granted, Denard Span's been out, and they miss his speed at the top of the order. 3 stolen bases. They've been caught 6 times.
And that's bounced out of play. It's 0-2. Yunel has been a well-traveled player the last couple of years. In fact, Washington got him from Oakland. It was in mid-January. Oakland needed a relief pitcher, and the Nationals sent Tyler Clippard to the A's for Yunel.
And after the injury to Craig Stammen, who's going to be out for the year, they're kind of wishing maybe they had that to do over again. Missing Clippard right now.
And Rafael Soriano not with their team either. He's a free agent there for the taking if someone needs a major league closer. And that ball is just foul down the right field line. So not only is Washington was Washington missing 3 of their best hitters, Soriano, Clippard, and Stammen, key parts of their bullpen, no longer with the team, or at least healthy enough to play.
Way foul.
Yeah,
never a problem. Yunel doesn't run well. That's one of the things that about his game, that if he does hit the ball on the ground, you've got time to turn a double play.
Toward third, but foul. Originally a Braves farmhand, second round in 2005. The Braves traded him to Toronto for Alex Gonzalez. Then he went to Miami, part of that big Marlins house cleaning with the Toronto Blue Jays. And a couple of weeks later, Miami flipped him to Tampa Bay for Derek Dietrich. On January 10th of 2015, he was acquired by Oakland. Then on his way to Washington 4 days later.
Yeah, in both cases where he went to Florida and then Tampa, Oakland and then Washington, he was just spun around.
Eight major league seasons for Escobar. He's now 32 years old. 0-2. Snap throw back to first. Escobar's entry into the United States, a well-known story. Told it when he played here. He was on a boat for days with a couple dozen people trying to cross the Florida Straits to flee Cuba. For the Industriales in Havana as a youngster, toiling with Washington. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He had a lot of Cuban flair when he first got to the big leagues with the Braves. And that sometimes got him in some hot water with his manager Bobby Cox.
He's down swinging. Stults got him with something off speed. Escobar is out number 1. And strikeout victim number 2.
Tell you one thing Yunel did, though, that I'll always remember was in Arizona one day when the pitcher put the glove on the mound to tie his shoe or lift up his pant legs. Yunel took off for second base and stole the bag standing up in a very important part of the ball game with the game on the line.
I think that was Jose Valverde, wasn't it?
Might have been.
Ian Desmond skies one toward right. He's going to fly out for a second time. Markakis continues his great defensive run. There's out 2. Markakis 344 straight errorless games in the outfield. And here's Ramos. Ball 1. Mets are in Miami tonight. Yankees beat the Mets 2 out of 3 in the Subway Series. Collins Ball Club starts play tonight in first place, 4.5 games in front of the Braves. Marlins, though, the hottest team in the division, they've won 5 straight, made a big roster move today. They designated Jared Saltalamacchia for assignment. TJ Realmuto has come up and played great behind the plate. Our team's apparently looking for major league catching, so perhaps a deal is in the offing for Miami.
That's a pretty good salary to eat too. I don't know if he had this year and one more, but even if it's just this year, that's a lot.
Broken bat pop out to second, and Jace Peterson will make the play. Ramos sawed off, and Bryce Harper's leadoff walk comes to nothing for Washington. Here we go, bottom of the fourth inning. Alberto Callaspo will lead things off for the Braves. Kelly Johnson, Jace Peterson versus Nationals right-hander Doug Fister. The Braves scored first on an A.J. Pierzynski sacrifice fly in the opening inning. Washington picked up a couple of doubles in the third inning. Danny Espinosa scored the game-tying run, and that's where we sit. Line drive into center field by Callaspo. He wears these guys out. I'm sure that was part of the thinking for Freddie Gonzalez.
Well, he put a charge in one yesterday, pinch hitting against Jonathan Papelbon. That's never easy to do, to come off the bench and face him. And he hit a jet into the seats in right field. And again, he got a sinker that didn't sink, didn't miss it.
Hanging sinker.
And he's off for the first pitch. And Kelly Johnson with a base hit to right field. Hit and run, perfect. First and third, nobody out.
I personally would like to see the Braves do more of this when they get the opportunity. Talk about Callaspo not being a real stolen base threat. But he gets on base so much, why not first to third him if you've got a left-handed hitter up there like Kelly who can pull the ball.
Back-to-back hits for the Braves. That brings up Jace Peterson. He singled to left on an 0-2 count his first time up. In the air to center. That'll get the job done. Span retreats. Here comes Callaspo. And Kelly Johnson tried to move up, and he's tagged out. So Callaspo scores the go-ahead run on the Peterson sacrifice fly. Kelly Johnson thrown out at second base, and now there are two men down.
I'd have gotten thrown out too. The way Span had to go back on that ball, it didn't look like he was going to be in a good position to throw. And he put a great throw on the bag.
Yeah, caught it a little bit flat-footed too once he got back there. And he did. Made a good throw.
Young tried to bunt and pulled it foul. So a sac fly, 8-4 on the putout. Callaspo scores, and it's 2-1 Braves. EY flied to left back in the second inning for Atlanta. Straightened him up over the inside corner.
3 RBIs in the last 2 games for Jace Peterson too.
Look out. Whistled over the Nationals dugout. Into the Braves dugout right side this time. It's still 0-2.
First inning, Fister threw 11 strikes, 11 balls. That's the first ball he's thrown this inning. Innings 2 and 3 through 23 strikes and 3 balls. So to say you're going to get something to hit is an understatement. May not be a perfect pitch to hit, but he's going to be around the plate.
Makes you wonder how in the world this man's walked 9 guys this year in limited duty, including 2 tonight. Great at bat by EY to spoil some tough pitches. Still a 1-2 count.
You mentioned that deal with Detroit to get him. I'd say that was a huge advantage Washington on that one.
1 ball, 2 strikes. That's upstairs. Those of you tuning in from the Hawks game. Hawks, by the way, lead at halftime. Their matchup with the Brooklyn Nets. Braves have just taken a 2-1 lead over Doug Fister. Back-to-back singles, including a hit and run by Kelly Johnson, and a Jace Peterson sacrifice fly has made it a 2-1 game. Our first look at the Washington Nationals this year. Catching him at a good time.
Knocked his hat off when he wound up.
Bouncer toward first. Zimmerman gives ground. Flip to the pitcher covering, and that retires the side. Braves cash in a couple of singles on a sac fly and take a 2-1 lead to the fifth. Right now on Fox Sports South and streaming on the Fox Sports Go app. The Hawks and Brooklyn Nets are facing off in a big game 4 of the NBA playoffs. Hawks are up 51-45 at halftime. Later tonight here on Sports South and streaming on Fox Sports Go, some of you will see the Memphis Grizzlies take on the Portland Trail Blazers. That's also game 4 of their playoff series. That starts at 10 Eastern time.
It's a lot to keep track of there.
Rip City will be rocking. That's what they call Portland. The Rose Garden. That's the NBA arena for the Trail Blazers.
I know that.
How are your Bruins doing in the NHL playoffs?
As good as Chip's Blues.
They got there.
You want to hit him first?
How's your team doing?
My team's doing real well. They've already advanced.
What team is that?
The Habs.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Canadian guy.
You can't name a guy on the team. You just happen to pick them in the pool, probably.
Price. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, start with a goaltender. Work forward, right?
Well, he's a good one to know.
Yeah. As Danny Espinoza is the hitter for White. Check out Espinoza's picture on the scoreboard.
I know, it's like Gene Shalit reincarnated here.
Check this out. Yikes.
He went incognito for that offering. Wasn't that the guy's name on NBC?
Yeah, the movie critic.
Yeah.
Either that or Wilford Brimley. Take your pick.
He was wise to shave that off.
Yeah.
And he's a good hitter.
And A lot better looking without that furry thing.
Still a full count.
Yeah, the knock on Espinosa was always that he fancied himself a home run hitter. Was always over swinging. Wasn't good enough just to hit some line drives and occasional homers.
But he can do that. And he singles to center to start the Washington fifth. Espinosa's getting playing time because things haven't gone very well for Dan Uggla. I talked to Dan before the game today. The vision problems that were plaguing him in his final days with the Braves and on to San Francisco last year, that stuff's gone. But in a season where he couldn't afford a cold start, well, he's had one. He's hitting $114 with an RBI and 10 strikeouts and 41 at bats for the Nationals. And one doesn't know, but I'm guessing when Rendon comes back, Dan's got to be a guy that has to be considered on the bubble. This Washington roster got a lot of infielders, play a lot of different spots. As Fister lays down another sacrifice, tying run in scoring position again for Denard Span.
Made it look easy.
Nice job. Yeah, that leadoff guy again giving Eric Stults some problems. Nobody out. That batting average that was one of his four keys, 417 average against him. He's given up a leadoff double to Espinosa, a leadoff single to Espinosa, also a leadoff walk last inning to Harper.
So Span, the key man of the inning. He's 0 for 2, 2 ground outs. And Washington hitting just .228 this year with runners in scoring position, and .218 as a team. Fly ball, shallow center, and Eric Young's going to catch that. No advance by Espinosa. Span's 0 for 3. Here's Ryan Zimmerman, the man that tied the game his last time up.
He did that with 2 outs. The numbers on Stults this year, the opponent's batting average with nobody out. There's that 417 mark, and all 3 homers, leadoff homers. And a lot better with 1 or 2 outs.
Well, sometimes you put a little bit too much pressure on yourself to get off to that good start inning by inning and try to be a little bit too fine with that leadoff guy instead of just focusing on what you focus on after that, which is just make pitches.
Strike 1 to Ryan Zimmerman. Jason Worth waits on deck.
Zimmerman got him on a 2-0 changeup last time, and if you think, for me, if you think that's how you want to get him out, I'd love to see him do something on the inside part of the plate, push him off a little bit here, and try and set that pitch up.
High fly ball, but right into the teeth of that stiff wind. Kelly Johnson is under it, and he's got it. And Zimmerman pops out. A leadoff single is left on base for Washington. Home fifth. Eric Stults will lead it off, and he's got a 1-run lead.
right stuff, low price every day.
Braves trying to chop down the Nationals in their first meeting of the season. And as we told you, Doug Fister has a game plan, and he's not afraid to execute it quickly.
Interesting, the two of those guys pitched for the Toronto Blue Jays. We saw R.A. Dickey in that series in Toronto. It's funny, I don't notice Jonathan Neese working that quickly.
Yeah. Well, you got to love the guys that do. Like I said, get it, get back on the mound, and get after it.
This guy, Tom, really throws across his body, steps toward the third base line, as opposed to right at the plate. And memory serves me, Steve Avery threw across his body like that too, some, didn't he?
He did. Well, that's where he's going to get his sink from, going across his body like that. So I got, guys like that too typically will have at least one good breaking ball, because we've got good torque coming back across that front leg.
He gets great downward plane on his pitches. Doug Fister's 6'8", and rail thin, 210 pounds, out of Merced, California. Started in Seattle, then to the Tigers, and his second season with Washington. And he just struck out his mound opponent Eric Stults. There's out number one. Time for our AT Universe trivia question. Tommy, we had a good run in Philadelphia answering the trivia question correctly. Let's see if we can get some help from you tonight. Simmons leads the Braves with 11 RBIs this year. Who holds the Braves' single season record for RBIs by a shortstop?
Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves. I'll bet Jeff Blauser knows the answer.
I'll bet he does.
That was going to be my guess. 1 ball, 1 strike for Nick Markakis. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a run. Lots of like, Joe, with Nick batting first.
On base all the time. He gives you a good professional at bat every time.
Hit that ball hard, but right to Espinosa. Tough break.
Even behind in the count, he's going to battle you tooth and nail. He's had some line shots caught over the last 3 or 4 games too, and got robbed yesterday on an at bat when he foul tipped the ball in the dirt, and the umpire said it was caught.
Let's see if Anderson could start a 2-out rally for the Braves. He's down a strike. Phillies and Cardinals, no score in the first inning. Cole Hamels pitching for Philadelphia. As that ball is bounced to third and off the glove of Escobar, and all hands are safe. Anderson Simmons aboard with 2 outs. We await the scoring verdict.
Yeah, I hope Anderson gets a hit out of it. I thought he should have caught this ball. That was out of his reach, I guess.
And I believe it is an infield hit. So Freeman with a chance to do some real damage. He's 2 for 2, 2 singles. Freddie has 9 career homers against the Nationals in 73 games. Enter play tonight with a .323 career batting average against Washington pitching. It's a good pitch.
It's slow breaking ball. Not a whole lot you can do with it unless you're really looking for it.
We just didn't throw that many. Never had the plate. hard to go up there and look for something he doesn't throw, but maybe 2 or 3 times a game.
Right.
That's usually how they'll use it. Try and sneak it in there and get a take. Get strike one. And call the inside corner now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Simmons around second. He's going to try for 3. Espinosa's throw is on target, and then got away from Escobar. They had him dead to rights at third base, and Escobar couldn't handle the throw and might have gotten spiked.
Bo Porter threw up a stop sign for Andrelton, but he didn't see it. He just kept running, and he was going to be dead to rights and knocked the ball and the glove out of Andrelton's hand. Nothing dirty about the slide. Boy, that had to hurt.
And Escobar might have to come out of the game.
That'll get Dan Uggla in the game, I would think.
A throwing error on Pfister chases Andrelton Simmons to third. A late slide kicked the glove right off Yunel Escobar's left hand. And he was right at the bag. Dan Uggla will enter the ball game for Washington. And Espinosa will move across to third base. So Uggla will hit 5th. So 2 balls, 2 strikes for Freeman. A ball in the dirt could score a run for the Braves, who lead 2-1. Ramos smothered it for a full count. 2 errors, 2 more errors for Washington tonight. One by Harper on a drop in right. Pfister with an errant pickoff throw at first here in the 5th. No, that is driving Matt Williams crazy. And did Freeman go? He could not check his swing, and he's rung up on the appeal at third. Freddie can't believe it. And that's going to end the Atlanta 5th. A check swing strikeout ends the inning. No runs, a hit, an error, and a man left. We head to the 6th inning. Dan Uggla's due third for the Nationals, who are down a run. Highly respected Major League umpire, and after Freddie Freeman struck out, he kept talking across the diamond to John Hirschbeck, who asked, "Are you talking to me?"
So it was a warning. Freddie tried to wave him away.
And he got ejected. So Chris Johnson will enter the game, and he'll play first base after Freddie Freeman was rung up on a check swing strikeout to end inning number 5. So Escobar has to leave because of injury for Washington. Freeman ejected, and now Stults will go to work with the meat of the order for Washington as he protects a 2-1 lead.
I like John Hirschbeck, but I'm sorry, he's wrong right there.
I think he was too.
He stood there the whole time staring at Freddie, waiting and waiting and waiting, and all he had to do was turn his back and walk down the left field line a little bit, and everything would have been fine. But you throw a guy out from across the diamond, you're looking to do something, because you sure as heck can't hear anything he's saying.
No. Plus, I thought he was wrong on the call.
Right.
I thought he checked his swing, but be that as it may, you're right, Tom. All he had to do was turn around.
He didn't, and Freddie didn't stop when warned, and in the umpire's judgment, he had had enough. So Freddie Freeman is out of the ball game. That's a big loss. Jason Worth will lead off for the Nationals. Worth has walked and struck out tonight. And he takes a little low, ball 1.
I don't know what recourse the player has, but that'd be one I'd look into to see if I've got some.
Worth strokes one toward left, and Kelly handled the sinking line drive for out number 1.
Some ability to appeal, or at least have somebody with some sort of hearing to hear my side of it before you find me.
I was going to ask you, there's a fine when you're ejected.
Automatic.
Sure. Automatic, yeah.
So maybe you get that back.
And I mean, to me, again, you want to umpiring and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, that's a perfect example of a guy should have just turned around and look out in the left field for 15 seconds, and that doesn't happen.
Bryce Harper is the hitter. He is grounded out and he's walked. 18 walks for the Nationals right fielder Bryce Harper. That's first in the league. You know who's second? Jock Peterson and Joey Votto of the Dodgers and Reds respectively. We'll see Joey Votto after Washington leaves town on this homestand. One and two.
Interesting to hear the fans' reaction when Dan Uggla is announced. It was not a warm greeting when he went out to second.
Well, we'll find out after Eric Young catches this pop up. And here is Uggla. The end of Uggla's Braves career was not nearly as happy as the beginning. I recall Dan's first season with the Braves in 2011. He hit 36 homers. 19 homers in 2012, 22 homers in 2013, and then last year, he'd be the first to tell you it was an unmitigated disaster. 162 average in 48 games. Braves released him on July 20th. He went to the Giants the next day. He came up on July 25th. Appeared in 4 games for San Francisco. And yes, got a World Series ring.
Hard to figure what happened to Dan in his swing, because it went south very quickly.
2 strikes. There were some vision problems. You might recall he had trouble seeing the baseball when his head was in motion. He went to Las Vegas, got treatment for that, and they believe there was an undiagnosed concussion. It was causing Dan all kinds of vision problems. Hit with a couple of pitches in spring training a couple of years ago. He had a collision with Denard Span that knocked him and Span out of the game. Dan was not able to really pinpoint one instance where those concussive symptoms appeared as he takes a call, 3rd strike. But he is back and struggling mightily at the plate with the Washington ball club. 3 up, 3 down for Stults. We head to the home 6th. Braves still lead by a run. AJ Pierzynski leads off the Atlanta 6th. He's knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly. It's 2-1 Braves. And he shows bunts. AJ's red hot. He's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
Like Callaspo, good numbers against the Nationals. Two homers included.
He's swinging a hot bat, calling a good game, and defending well. That's why AJ is getting the bulk of the playing time behind the plate right now. He nearly got hit. Longest hit streak at the start of a season for AJ Pierzynski in his big league career, as we told you. Just took inside and even count. Scorched into the seats, foul. What a good one brewing in Miami. It was the Mets nothing, Marlins nothing into the bottom of the 8th inning. Dylan G and Jared Kozart were hooked up. Martin Prado singled home a run to give the Marlins a lead going to the 9th. 1-0. And Pierzynski, a top spin line drive. He leads off with a single. A 10-game hit streak for Pierzynski now. And that sets up Alberto Callaspo.
One of those breaking balls.
I like that for strike one. I don't like it for strike three. You've got a hitter that's got 2 strikes on him. He's a little bit more defensive, a little bit more short in his swing, trying to put the ball in play. He's got a much better chance of reacting to that pitch than he does early in a count.
Last 3 times up for Alberto Callaspo have been awfully productive. A homer, a walk, a single. He scored twice. Going back to yesterday's action in Philly. In fact, that pinch hit homer that Callaspo hit yesterday was the 2nd of the year for the Braves. How many pinch hit home runs they had all year last year? 2. Wow. Two balls and a strike. That's too high. Ball 3. Doug Fister gives up a bouncing ball off Zimmerman's glove, but he keeps it in front and makes the play at first base. It's an out, but a productive one. Brzezinski moves to second, and that's out number 1.
We were told that he's making plays at first base like a third baseman. That looked like a third baseman who would go to his backhand to get set to make a play and then got in a hurry. He was trying to do too much before he got the ball actually in his glove. Never been anything wrong with Ryan Zimmerman's hands. It was just his throwing arm.
I was going to say it's probably unfair to him that you would compare him to Adam LaRoche and the defensive saves that he makes over there, but you'd think with his hands he's got a chance to learn the position. I mean, it's not an easy position to play, and I think a lot of times they try to hide guys over there a little bit, but his hands are good. He's got a good instincts. You know, he's going to learn the footwork a little bit, and I think he's got a chance to be pretty good over there.
Big target too.
Let's not forget.
Goodness knows they need a big target.
Yeah, right, and a net maybe. Well, let's not forget he was working out at first base last year when Adam LaRoche was still a Washington National, so I'm sure Adam gave him a few pointers. Kelly strokes one out of play, foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes as we approach 9 o'clock Eastern time. Good game, Braves and Nationals. Eric Stults pitching a beauty. He's outdueling Doug Fister to this point. Single runs for the Braves in the 1st and the 4th. Washington's lone run tied the game at 1 apiece in the 3rd. High fly ball hammered right. Bryce Harper's back on the warning track at the wall. Ceiling. It's gone. A long towering home run for Kelly Johnson.
Kelly needed one more biscuit for breakfast yesterday, or he would have won the ball game on the last at bat in the 9th for Atlanta with that deep fly to left. That Revere caught right up against the padding. Maybe he had that extra biscuit today. He can turn on it on that fastball. Don't think it sneak one by him.
And guys, the wind is blowing in. It's not blowing out toward right. He hit that ball a ton.
Yeah, he smoked that ball.
So 2 hits, 2 RBIs for Kelly Johnson, and the Braves have some breathing room. It's a 4-1 game. And what a pleasure for Eric Stults, a man that seldom gets this type of run support, now has a 3-run cushion through 6 innings of work. Peterson lines one over second himself. He's got 2 hits and an RBI.
This is so much better for Chase Peterson, these at bats, than the lazy fly balls. You're going to hit some fly ball outs. You're going to get fooled on some pitches or be late on some pitches. But if you're not trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark and you're just guarding the plate like he was there, good things can happen.
3 hits in the inning. One of them left the ballpark. And now Steve McCatty, the fine Washington pitching coach, makes his way to the mound. That'll buy some more time for the Washington bullpen.
Matt Grace is loosening up.
And they've got some rookies in their relief corps too, don't they? Braves have 4 rookies. Rafael Martin, Felipe Rivero, and Matt Grace are the youngsters, although Rivero, for the moment, is on the disabled list. But the big key, Soriano, a free agent. Clippard, now an Athletic. Greg Stammen, a guy that can take the ball every day for them and work multiple innings, out with a bad elbow. 3 critical late game components for the Washington pen, not available to them this year.
Well, certainly chance of struggles.
Another one got away from Zimmerman. Peterson around second. He's going to try for third. The ball into the tarp, but no further damage. That'll be the 3rd error on Washington tonight.
Did I hear somebody yell balk? I thought I heard some yelling. Maybe it was TP yelling back. Maybe that's what I heard.
I think they were calling interference there too.
That might have been it.
So 2 throwing errors by Doug Fister. And the infield comes in for Washington with Eric Young up there. 1 out, 2 in, 4-1 game. Squeezes on. Young got the butt down. It's a beauty.
Close, more like it, isn't it? Perfect time to put it on. Right after the error. Pitcher's got some other things on his mind. Well executed by Eric.
And look at him clap as he got to the bag. A 3-run inning for Atlanta, and Stults now enjoys a 5-1 lead.
Yeah, it's always good to put that play on after a little chaos.
And the early scouting reports on the Nationals guys proving right. They are not having a good night. And that is taking advantage of it. 3 errors. Washington has only 3 hits. Doug Fister in deep trouble. He was 3-0 against Atlanta coming in. He's trailing by 4 runs now tonight. Stairs to Stults, 2-2.
Mets and Marlins were scoreless into the 8th, right?
Yep. Wow. Mets put a 3 spot on the board. And Stults gets it on the hit parade. He singles the other way. Might be the end of the line for Mr. Fister. It is going to be the end of the line. Matt Williams will go get his tall, lanky right-hander. Fister authored his own demise tonight with 2 throwing errors. He gave up a home run to Kelly Johnson to break the game open. The Braves executed a perfect squeeze, and Eric Stults and Atlanta enjoys a 5-1 lead at home against their rivals from Washington. May 20th when you buy 2 or more Kroger 4-game plans that include that May 20th game. This exclusive pregame VIP meet and greets offered the first 100, so act now. Visit Braves.com/4game today. By the way, you can buy Charmin at Kroger, and with that in mind, a squeeze play, guys. I was actually going to describe it.
Nice segue. Nice. Object of a squeeze button, if you're the button, it's just fair. Button right back to the pitcher. Ely did a little better than that.
Yeah. Don't want to leave too early as the runner. Give it away as the hitter. Square as late as you can. And like you say, bunt it back to the pitcher. He's the last guy that can move on the field. So that gives you the most time.
And Tommy Anubi's out there for the Nats.
Yeah. Matt Grace. His 4th time on the year. A couple innings pitched. Walking a strikeout. Fastball, slider. Lots of ground balls.
That one sunk in at the knees to Nick Markakis. Grace made his big league debut Wednesday night against the Cardinals. Pitched an inning, gave up a walk. Nationals put him in the bullpen after 2012 season. He's done good work. And there's the ground ball. It's up the middle. Desmond came to a sliding stop, almost overslid that ball, but made the play at the bag to retire Eric Stults and the Braves. 2 runs across, make it 3 runs across in the inning, and the Braves open up a 5-1 lead. Done everything right tonight. And Eric Stults, with a 4-run lead, has the lower portion of the Washington batting order coming up. Desmond, Ramos, and Danny Espinosa. Desmond has flied to center and right tonight, and he's behind 0-1. Swung late. Desmond, a true offensive shortstop. 20 or more homers in each of the last 3 seasons. 70 or more RBIs in each of the last 3 seasons, including a career high 91 last year. It's a very important year for him. It's his walk year.
He will get a lot of attention if they don't re-sign him.
Again, Joe, the most perplexing part of it is, as great an athlete as Ian Desmond is, for him to have 8 errors in the first 3 weeks of the season is hard to believe.
It's mind-boggling.
In the air to center. Young will backtrack. He'll have plenty of room to make the catch. 1 out. So Eric Stults off to a good start in the 7th inning. He's our T-Mobile game changer.
6+ innings already tonight. Only 3 hits allowed and the 1 run after a leadoff double by Espinosa in the 3rd inning. No Braves starter has gone 7 complete. He's got a real good shot at it.
Well, they need to get some guys start doing that. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Alex Wood's gone 6 2/3 innings twice for the Braves this year. So Stults will try to best that with a big lead. He's got Ramos in the box, who's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a pop out. And now a line drive to left. Not a topspin on that baby, and Kelly Johnson played it safely. Ramos has the 4th Nationals hit. Something about the Nationals guys always brings out the best in the Braves. And won the season series against them last year. And over the last 42 games, it's been even more dominant for the Atlanta team. These two clubs have traded the Eastern Crown for the last 2 years. Braves won it 2 years ago. Washington won it last year.
(28-14) in the Braves' favor over that stretch, Chip. More homers, better ERA, and they've gone 15-7 here at Turner Field over that same span.
That's the makings of a great rivalry. So much on the line for these two clubs. And that just missed. Even count for Espinosa.
Outside of all the ground balls hit to Jace Peterson tonight, there were 4 in the first 2 innings. He hasn't had a ton of ground ball outs. Sure used one here.
This kind of feels like a San Diego weather night, though, doesn't it? Kind of a damp, chilly evening.
A little cool.
Yeah, that wind's keeping it cool.
Only 90 pitches, as you see, with 1 out in the inning. 2 balls and a strike for Espinosa. And that's outside. The activity has begun in the Braves bullpen. We'll walk people. As Martin and Luis Avilan begin to warm.
Yeah, take a shot with his best sinker right here.
Fastball. Espinosa didn't get it.
Or old pal Reed Johnson, who got released by the Marlins and signed by the Nats.
Pop back our way. The crowd. It's 3-2. That's hammered foul down the left side. Do it again. Mets win in Miami. Maybe it is their year. They were down 1-0 after 8. Got 3 in the 9th. I'm guessing off Steve Cishek. They stunned the Marlins and snapped their winning streak after losing 2 of 3 to the Yankees in the Bronx. Braves have to win tonight to keep pace with the Amazons. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
spoil a good pitch there. You mentioned Cole Hamels pitching in St. Louis tonight. There was a lot of discussion today about whether or not he was being showcased basically in light of Adam Wainwright's injury, that the Cardinals had some interest in him over the offseason, and now there might be a strong interest in trying to get Hamels.
Yeah, the Cardinals made it official today with Adam, didn't they? As that's downstairs. An Achilles tear for Adam Wainwright. He is done for the year. And Stults with a walk. And that will bring up Reed Johnson, and it'll bring Freddie Gonzalez to the top step, and now out to the mound. And that'll be all for Eric Stults. He pitched great, 6 1/3, a couple of base runners in the 7th, forces Freddie Gonzalez's hand. He'll go to the bullpen to protect a 5-1 lead in Game 1 against Washington. Starting in as few as 15 games, become an A-list member today and get exclusive benefits customized to meet your unique needs. You'll also get a chance to buy your seats in 2015 for SunTrust Park. Visit Braves.com/A-list or call 404-577-9100 to join the A-list today. As always, we thank our friends with Delta Airlines. They'll get us safely from city to city all through this 2015 season. Best care in the air for Mac Honey and the staff on our charter flights at Delta Airlines.
Cody Martin's done a great job, Tom, for the Braves out of the bullpen. Only for Cody, 14 strikeouts in 11 2/3 innings against only 2 walks. His one loss was in a game that Stults had pitched well, where he gave up a home run to Wilmer Flores of the Mets. Outside of that, he hasn't given up much of anything.
He's got a tough customer in the batter's box. Braves fans remember Reed Johnson, one of the game's best pinch hitters. And he is not afraid to lean in and get hit. That's the amazing thing. Reed Johnson, they say, swung at that pitch. He was on his way to first base.
And a foul tip.
That must have hit the knob of the bat.
And Reed heard the tick. Matt Williams may be checking that. I don't think that's a reviewable play. It grazed the left hand of Reed Johnson.
Looked like it.
So maybe that is reviewable. Yep, apparently so. Reed Johnson was hit by a pitch 5 times as a pinch hitter last year. And on the first pitch from Cody Martin, appeared to have been grazed on the hand.
It looks like on that replay it got his hand.
That's a really tough call for the home plate umpire, though, when he hears that tick, to know if it was a ricochet off the hands or batting glove or off the bat. Sounds the same.
Here's what it sounded like for Milwaukee. And that may have scraped the last little curl of Velcro on the glove on the way by. And will there be enough clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call at the plate, which was a foul ball? That's a big runner, because if Reed Johnson reaches, that would bring the potential tying run to the plate. And only one out. Denard Span, potential hitter. And we did get the particulars on that Mets game. It was a home run by Daniel Murphy off Cishek that decided it. So Reed Johnson will trot to first, as that call was correctly overturned. He was hit by the pitch. Now Washington business, bases loaded. Ramos at third, Espinosa at second, Reed's at first.
Cody really hasn't been a ground ball guy. One of those guys you bring in just to try to get a double play to get out of an inning. He's not that type of pitcher. He's more of a fly ball guy. And Span's tough to double up even in normal double play situations.
1 ball, no strikes.
Well, he's certainly trading out for a run here. Stay away from the big inning.
Bullpen's done an amazing job. They've had 37 inherited runners this year. Only 3 of them have scored. Martin inherited 2. Hit Reed Johnson to load him up. Now a 2-0 pitch. In the air to center. Young's going to track that one down. That'll be the second out. The Braves do trade the out for the run. A sacrifice fly by Denard Span makes it a 5-2 game. Run charged to Eric Stults.
As Tom said, that's just fine.
But you're not out of the woods yet. 2-time Silver Slugger winner Ryan Zimmerman's up. He's stung the ball 3 times, including once for a double. Scored the first run for Washington back in the 3rd inning. Their team leader in RBIs with 13. He's in a money spot now for Washington with 2 outs. Low, ball 1. Fly foul back toward us. It's an even count.
That funny sound we heard off of Freddie Freeman's bat earlier tonight, I'm hearing off every bat now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's our crowd mic. It almost sounds like aluminum bats when they make contact.
Zimmerman tried to hit that to Alvarado.
That's what he ought to be trying to do. He's swinging the bat real well. He's got some confidence and a chance to tie the ball game up. You want him taking a good rip.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Strike 3 call. Inning over. Cody Martin continues his sparkling work out of the Braves bullpen. It's 5-2 on the stretch. Worth took it. He's down swinging. Stults got him with something off speed. High fly ball hammered right. Bryce Harper's back on the warning track at the wall. Ceiling. It's gone. A long towering home run for Kelly Johnson. Great night for the Braves in their homecoming. 5-2 is your score. Let's check out the CPI Security Game Summary.
Here we go. We got a lot of haze tonight on those caps. It's all a good sign. Eric Stults pitched into the 7th inning. Good results. Only 2 runs allowed. Freddie Freeman, a couple of big hits before he got thrown out of the game for no reason. And Kelly Johnson and Jace Peterson with big hits.
Let's see if the Braves can get a few more. As Rafael Martin is up. And that one's high and tight to Andrelton Simmons. And he'll take first.
Who's that out of the Braves dugout?
Is that Johnny Gomes?
Yeah.
Milwaukee is telling Johnny Gomes either to get back in the dugout or he's kicked him out. But Johnny Gomes took exception to that pitch up and into Andrelton Simmons.
It wasn't up and in. It was just behind him, which always makes it seem like it was a purpose pitch. I mean, the pitch to Reed Johnson was certainly no reason for that.
Are any warnings going to be issued here?
Hirschbeck and Welke are talking about it. Yeah.
Yep, there they are.
I like what A.J. Brzezinski did. He walked over between Gomes and the foul line to try to prevent Kelly from doing something. Gomes immediately out of the dugout.
As we said at the start of the broadcast, when the Braves and Nationals get together, there's always something. remember, Julio Teheran and Bryce Harper have had a few run-ins in the past. And Simmons at first for Chris Johnson. And Freddie Freeman ejected from the ball game after striking out in the 5th.
This guy's getting tattooed pretty hard. 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. 3 of the hits are homers, but he's only walked 1. So his control otherwise has been okay.
Throwing too many strikes.
Yeah.
Sharply hit and under the glove of Desmond. Simmons on his way to third.
This is atrocious.
I'm dumbfounded, to be honest with you. I can't remember a team as good as Washington looking so bad defensively.
4 more errors tonight. Desmond never even had his glove down. He had it up like he was going to stab at it. Either misread the hop or is just a little lost out there right now.
Yeah, you know, you got to believe that some of this is starting to play on their minds a little bit. You know, it's they're almost probably having that attitude of, please don't hit the ball to me.
Exactly.
Brzezinski bats and takes a strike. Rafael Martin, by the way, an interesting story. National scout Bill Singer saw him pitching in the Mexican Winter League and the 2010 Caribbean Series. Before signing with Washington, had never signed with a major league team. And in the Mexican leagues, he went to a Mexican League tryout camp when he was 22 years old and signed with the Saltillo Seraperos. That's how you say
At
it.
age 22?
At age 22.
Wow.
Worked his way through the minor league system for the Nationals. 2.84 minor league ERA, and here he is in the show. Fly ball center. That'll chase Span back. He'll make the grab. Simmons will tag. He'll make his way home. A sac fly for AT Brzezinski. He's got bookend sac flies and RBIs tonight. Braves get that Washington run back here in the bottom of the 7th.
Talked about how important it would be for Atlanta to get runners in from third base less than 2 outs. And for AT Brzezinski, twice tonight he's done that. And that's 6, make it 7 sacrifice flies now for the Braves on the year. I think they only had 25 or 6 or 7 last year all year long.
Strike to Callaspo. That's something, Joe, we talked about all spring long. Just the very simple approach. You can't worry about getting the guy home from first if you don't get the guy home from third at first. That's exactly what AJ did. Put it in play. Just get one.
Gretchen just told me he was 27, and that was last in the majors.
So a 6-2 Atlanta lead. They've out-hit the Nationals 10-4, but 4 more Washington errors. 1 by Harper, 1 by Desmond, 2 by Doug Fister. Down the right field line, but out of play.
Well, the Braves have already scored a run here without benefit of a hit. That's another good thing.
That just missed. Would have thought that was a strike. He's exasperated in left field.
He had a real good vantage point out there. But he got rung up on one tonight, so that's where that goes back to.
Strike 3. Throw through to second, and it short hops the bag, and sliding around the tag is Chris Johnson. A new set of signs with a runner at second, and Kelly Johnson to the plate. Big night for Kelly, a single and a 2-run home run.
2 of his 3 homers have been big ones. Tonight I counted as a big one because it gave the Braves a little breathing room in a 2-1 game. The other one was that 9th inning game tying homer in Toronto. That was a huge one off that hard throwing reliever they have. He's also hit one off Dan Heron.
Ball, 1 strike. High hopper toward first. Zimmerman tried to get it before it rolled foul, but he couldn't. And that's Bill Welke's call behind the plate, and he made it correctly.
Zimmerman was trying to beat it before it got fouled, but get there.
Another interesting part about this Rafael Martin is that he was not from Mexico. He wasn't born in Mexico. He was from San Fernando, California, and worked in construction for 4 years before he signed his first pro contract. So he wasn't getting any attention, maybe pitching in semi-pro league or something. So he went to Mexico to that Mexican league tryout you were talking about, Chip, and worked for him.
It's amazing. What a story.
Persistence.
Yeah.
Ball, 2 strikes for Kelly Johnson. Play. Later on tonight, Colorado's in Arizona. The first place Houston Astros. Yes, the Houston Astros are in first place in the AL West. They visit San Diego. The Giants and Dodgers meet again. And Chavez Ravine, the pitch in dirt. I don't know if you all saw it yesterday. Evan Gattis had the go-ahead hit for Houston against Oakland. He hit a ball Adam's apple high, about 400 feet straightaway center field, driving 2 runs.
Cole Hamels could certainly attest to his high ball ability.
Yes. In the air to center. That's going to get down. Here comes Chris around third, and he's going to score. Have yourself a homecoming, Kelly Johnson. Talk about making a team pay. Braves have Andrelton Simmons thrown behind, and then the error. Both of those men come home to score to extend the lead.
Fastball. When Kelly's not trying to pull everything, he is such a dangerous hitter. He got off to a horrible start in spring training. A lot of people were wondering if he was going to be able to get it turned on enough to make the ball club, and he had an excellent second half of spring training to make the club.
It's high to Jace Peterson. He's had a good night tonight. 2 singles, a run, and a sacrifice fly. There's a strike. 11 hits tonight for the Braves, not their season high. They had 14 hits against Matt Latos in the second game of the year down in Miami.
Yeah, but back-to-back games of double digits in hits.
10 yesterday. As that pitch is downstairs, Martin's taking one for the team. Fourth Braves base runner to reach is Jace Peterson. Here's the hitter with 2 outs. Braves fans, find all of your Braves gear for the season at the Braves Clubhouse store at CNN Center. Tons of great options like Braves Columbia PFG short sleeve shirts are available. To check out the entire selection, stop by the Braves Clubhouse store at CNN Center or call 404-523-5854. Fans might need a Braves jacket. It's cooling off drastically. Wind blowing straight in. And time called. Security a little late getting off the field as Eli's ready to go. Cameron Maben's grabbed a bat. He would hit for Cody Martin if Eric can reach. And a strike. Played at the Braves' 5th run. Still 0-2. Young didn't get it. Might have swung at ball 2. Big night tonight for Kelly Johnson. 3 hits, 3 RBIs, and a home run. And we head to the 8th inning where the Braves are in command. It's a 7-2 game. 7-2 game. Braves fans are happy at Turner Field tonight. As we head to the 8th inning, let's revisit our AT Uverse trivia question. Anderson leads the Braves with 11 RBIs this year. Who holds the Atlanta Braves single season record for an RBI season by a shortstop? I'm going Blouse.
I'm going to go Andres Thomas.
Ooh. Oh, that's a good one. I got a sneaking suspicion it might be for call. I'm going to go Rafi.
I like it when we have 3 answers. There's a much better chance of being right. And the answer is.
Seemed too obvious. I didn't want to go there.
Yep. Escobar had to leave the game after a hard slide at third base by Andrelton Simmons.
Yeah, I hope he's all right.
And one of our fans, is questioning whether that pitch behind Andrelton was retaliation for that hard late slide at third base.
It could have been. It could have been.
And we've gotten no word on the severity of the Escobar injury, but Andrelton kicked his glove right off. He was safe on the play. Back in the 5th inning. So Martin versus Worth in the top of the 8th. Worth is 0 for 2 with a walk. And he's now 0 for 3 with a walk. He just struck out on a pitch up and in. Second strikeout for Cody Martin. Changes for Atlanta. Eric Young is in left. Cameron Maben takes over in center. It's been the customary switch patterns for Freddie Gonzalez. Get the lead, get your good hands team in the outfield.
Jason Worth is a very good player, both sides of the ball. But if you miss spring training and try to catch up and just fit right in the middle of the season after the beginning of the season, I don't care how good you are. That's tough duty.
Especially with so much on the line for Washington. I mean, there are those who feel that this may be their last greatest chance to get over the hump and get in the World Series. As we mentioned, Desmond in his walk year, Jordan Zimmerman, it's his walk year. Those are 2 hugely important pieces for the Washington puzzle.
Is Strasburg eligible?
Not sure about that. Harper took a strike. When he signed, didn't he have that kind of an opt-out clause in that contract? I might be wrong about that too. And the knees, full count for Harper. And he lost it. Bryce is aboard for the 2nd time on the base on balls. That's the first for Cody tonight. And Dan Uggla will bat for a 2nd time. He ended the game when Escobar had to leave with that hand injury. And Dan struck out to end the Washington 6th.
And Strasburg will be a free agent after next season.
Strike 1. toward right, and that's going to get down and roll to the fence. Harper around second. He's on his way around third. Uggla's going to chug for third. He's going to make it with a sliding triple. Ball got away. It's backed up by Young, but too late. Now he's going to come around and score. So an RBI triple for Uggla, and then he scores as the throw got away at third base, and that makes it a 7-4 game.
Fastball away from him. Took it in the right direction, but this relay throw to third base was not just ill-advised, it was unnecessary. Chase Peterson had no play at third base. And there were two guys there backing up, but once it went off Carrasco's glove, it went away from both of them.
So we know it's a triple and an RBI. Assuming an error will be charged, allowing Uggla to score. We will wait and see to whom that's given. The Nationals are within striking distance with one out. A 7-4 game. One and one for Desmond, and down and away. 2 balls and a strike.
Snaps a streak of 4 straight games where the Nationals have scored 2 or fewer runs.
Launched out of play. That one headed for the upper deck. Ian Desmond, 2-2. Full count.
Just got that guy back in the game. He and Grilly.
And he might be coming on pretty quick. Desmond walks. 2 walks in the inning. And that is going to be the case. That's all for Cody Martin.
That's not been a problem for Cody. He's been a strike throwing machine, but not tonight.
So an inning plus for Martin with a couple of strikeouts. He issued a couple of walks. 2 runs are in as well. He also hit a batter. It's a 7-4 game.
Toyota.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 great years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widgets, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV. details. Scoreless outing for Jim Johnson last time out, Joe. Let's hope he's back on the beam in game 1 against Washington.
Yeah, he had good life on his pitches, and his sinker was moving down. 11th game already for him.
Wilson Ramos is the hitter and takes the ball high. Bouncing ball to Simmons at short. There's one. Catcher running. Bad throw, and it ricochets off the screen. And a hard slide by Ian Desmond prevents Peterson from turning the double play.
Yeah, the bad throw was caused by the slide. He really upended Jace. Good slide. The throw to be off the mark. It was a slow developing play because Hamilton had to wait on that second hop.
It is the second out of the 8th inning, and that brings up Espinosa, who's had a perfect night at the plate. And lefty now, and flashes the first one out of play, strike 1. That one pops away from A.J. Przinsky. And takes away the forced play at second.
Maybe it was a breaking ball that just got away from him, but it wasn't. No.
Here's where Jim wants it. And that was around the plate. Try though, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Good try by AJ to frame it too.
Out of play left side. We'll do it again for Espinosa. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Closing in on 10 o'clock. He's up 7-4. The pitch is away. Popped him up. Jace Peterson on the outfield grass is under it. He's got it. And Jim Johnson gets Atlanta out of the top of the 8th inning. Washington scores 2 on a Little League homer from Dan Uggla. 7-4 to score.
Fox Sports celebrates 50 years of the Atlanta Braves.
subplot to this Braves National Series. A little more of that perhaps tomorrow. Here are Chevron probable starters. Max Scherzer was scheduled to pitch Game 2 of the series for Washington. He's listed in their game notes, but perhaps it'll be Tanner Roark against Julio Teheran.
Yeah, we're told that they're going to make a decision after this ball game.
Scherzer's right thumb is still very sore and swollen after he was injured swinging the bat against the Mets. It hasn't responded quickly enough for treatment, apparently. Obviously, Tommy, they don't want to risk any kind of mechanical alteration with a bad hand from managers signed to a gigantic contract.
No, not in April. You know, maybe September if you're in a playoff run, but not this time of year.
This is Aaron Barrett on the mound for Washington, and Phil Gosselin will pinch hit for Jim Johnson.
Young man out of Ole Miss. Makes his home in Atlanta, though.
After 2 Ole Misses in the count, he's come back with 2 strikes, and it's 2-2 for Phil Gosselin. 9-1-2 due for the Nationals in the top of the 9th inning. Jason Grilli, we presume, will nail down the save. Get the Braves back over 500. 10-9. And Gosselin couldn't check his swing. He's out number 1. There's Jason. He is loosening up. Markakis 0 for 3, but he did walk to start the game and scored the first run against Doug Fister. Eric Stults was terrific tonight. 2 earned runs in 6 1/3 worth of work, only 4 hits. Braves tagged Doug Fister for 5 runs. He entered play unbeaten against the Braves. And a strike.
This guy's got a live arm. Fastball slider. Fastball in the mid-90s.
Fly ball well hit right center field. Harper on the run, not going to get there. That'll bounce up off the fence. And Nick Markakis with a 1-out double. Nick has hits in 11 of the last 14 Braves games.
3rd double of the year, and he continues to get on base. Long way, short off the wall.
So Andrelton Simmons, the batter. Warnings were issued after Nationals threw behind him in the 7th inning. It's only a guess. I'm sure no one will tell us, but after Escobar was knocked out by Andrelton's slide earlier in the game, Washington didn't appreciate the result of that play. 0-1 the count. With Markakis at second. He fouled away.
Well, like Joe said, you know, the throw behind a guy like that, it sure looks like it was intentional, and you kind of go back and think about what led to it. I mean, wouldn't be surprised if it was, but
it's the only logical reason.
Now 0-2. We'll get the old, it was a cold night and it just kind of got away from me. We've heard hundreds of times.
Well, we know how Andrelton plays. We see him play every night. He plays hard, but he doesn't play dirty.
Right.
And I would admit that it did look like a late slide, but it wasn't trying to do any damage or trying to hurt, you know.
Outside 2-2. Again, we've heard no injury report from the Nationals clubhouse. Anthony Rendon can't come back soon enough for Matt Williams and the Nationals. As we told you earlier, he was supposed to play in another rehab game today, but he was too fatigued to do so. They're hoping he'll be back in lineup tomorrow. And strike 3 at the knees takes care of Simmons. That's the second out of the 8th inning.
Second strikeout of the inning on our PNC Bank pitching performance. Good pitch.
Semi front door breaking ball. Got him to flinch just a little bit.
Chris Johnson took over at first base when Freddie Freeman was ejected after the 5th inning. Chris hit a ground ball that Desmond couldn't corral at shortstop for his 9th error. He later stole second and scored on a Kelly Johnson single. Bouncing ball, that's through for a base hit. Here comes Markakis around third. Worth loads up. His throw to the plate is going to be late. And Chris Johnson takes second on the throw. It's 8-4.
I think you will see the Atlanta Braves trying to take advantage of Jason Worth's throwing arm on every occasion in this series. I mean, this is nowhere near the throwing arm of a guy we're used to seeing from that distance. You know, a 3-hopper to home plate from left field. That's just, you know, his shoulder's not right.
So Brzezinski, a couple of RBIs, hits with 2 outs. And takes the ball outside. Avilan now gets up as the lead too great for Jason Grilli. This will get some work in the 4-run lead. Was reaching for that one, didn't get it. 2-2.
This guy's throwing a 2-seamer too, and he's trying to get some late movement down. He's missed a couple of times, but this time let it to run down and away from AJ.
Yeah, I think AJ was swinging at a 4-seamer right there, but just kind of kept running.
How about that swing? It's like a cricket player. Almost picked that up right off the ground.
Kind of like a base hit he had on the road trip where he scooped one up off the ground for a base hit.
To short. Desmond made the play. Good throw. Sends our game to the 9th inning. Braves add an 8th inning tally. Good night for the Atlanta offense. 8 runs on 13 hits. 3 more outs to get for a win over Washington.
of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Our next 3 Braves games start at 6:30 Eastern. Right here on Sports South. Talking about the Nationals and Reds gets me a little choked up. So you got to take it from there. Yeah, pitch promo reader.
Next 3 Braves games start at 6:30 Eastern right here on Sports South. Tomorrow and Wednesday's games are versus the Nationals, and Thursday we start our series against the Reds. It's Braves baseball tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, all at 6:30 Eastern and all on Sports South.
Your first Major League save. Congratulations.
Boy, I was getting nervous there for a second.
So thank you very much.
It's just a game. Don't get so choked up.
Oh, it's a nervous time, man. As Luis Avalon goes to work, Tyler Moore grabs a bat and he'll pinch hit.
I just checked with the Nationals broadcasters. They don't know who's pitching for them tomorrow either.
But we'll find out after the game. Maybe we'll have it for you on Braves Live. There's plenty to talk about tonight.
Of course, if they do know, they're hogging all the info.
Yeah, well. There have been a few too many leaks out of Washington the last couple of weeks, so we can understand why they want to keep it close to the vest. 0-2 to Tyler Moore. Ground ball softly hit to the right side. Peterson's got it. And a high throw pulled Chris Johnson off the bag.
Be the second error of the night, second in 2 innings on Jace Peterson. Chris right into the path of Tyler Moore.
So lost in what's been a real good offensive game for the Braves is a lackluster defensive effort. 6 combined errors tonight, 4 by the Nationals. That gives them some life up with Denard Span. Bullpen gets busy again if needed. Really getting ready again.
Hopefully he won't get hot. Maybe just play a little catch and Luis can get through this quickly.
To Span. Zimmerman, Worth, and Harper are lurking. Luis Avilan's first appearance of the year perhaps has set the stage for a terrific bounce back season for the Braves. That big double play he got down in Miami with the bases loaded was a perfect way to begin his season. And he's rallied to fill up the count for Denard Span here. 3-2.
Let's throw another one right in the exact same spot.
See how far he can hit it. Make him hit it.
Strike 3, belt high and right down the middle. Wow. One down.
PNC Bank pitch track shows you his top of the zone. Got the call from Bill Welke. 1 down.
Here's him. He's got an RBI double. He's flied out twice and struck out once, and looks at a ball low.
Just looking at Zimmerman's grip a while ago, Tom, it almost looks like your golf grip. A little bit of an overlap.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't interlocked, was it?
I was going to say, it looks like his.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
It's not the Varden grip,
No.
is it?
It's a little bit of an overlap, I think.
2 balls, no strikes. In the air, slicing on a play foul. Braves are apparently going to miss Max Scherzer here tomorrow. They will get Jordan Zimmerman, though. He will be pitching on Wednesday against Alex Wood. It's the final game of the series. 2-1. Now 2-2. It's headed to the stands. Phillies are winning tonight. Cardinals led 1-0 for a while, but the Phillies have scored 3 and lead the Redbirds in the 8th. 2-2 pitch. Slow roller toward Callaspo. He charges, fires the second low. Peterson's throw to first is again off target.
That time he did not get taken out.
No, I don't know that he would have got him with a strong throw anyway, but it looked like he didn't get the grip on it.
That big Tyler Moore bearing down on you.
Yeah, he was a little late getting that out of his glove. You're right.
Yeah.
But he's also developing a habit of doing the same thing on every turn, coming back to right field. He may need to alter that so he doesn't get nailed again. That's how Desmond got him last inning.
So one more out to get. That man's Jason Worth, who's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. 8-4 Atlanta. Game 1 of the series. Pitch. Ball high.
Jason Worth was quoted in a story that came out today or yesterday actually about the Nationals after their loss last night, that his team was flat, had no energy.
Well, if they are, they're going to be flattened a little more as the Braves beat them 8-4. Worth flies out to right to end the ball game. And the Braves happy to get back home. They earn their 10th victory of the season, and they continue their run of great luck against Washington in this ballpark. The Braves have now won 16 of their last 23 at home against their Eastern rivals. 8-4 is tonight's final score. We'll recap it from Turner Field after this.